Hey folks, welcome back to the Weekly Spark, your regular roundup of what's been happening in the worlds of e-ink, Kindle, iPad and other related tech. Coming up, Apple turns podcasts into a proper video platform, Amazon pushes the Kindle Scribe further into AI territory, play games on a Kindle without hacking it, and there's one simple iPad setting that might just help you get close to a Kindle-style reading experience. So, grab a cuppa and let's get cracking. Apple is officially moving into video podcasting. With the latest release of iPadOS 26.4, Apple has added native video support inside the podcast app. That means podcast shows can now include full video episodes, streamed using Apple's HTTP live streaming technology, otherwise known as HLS. You can start listening to a podcast on your iPad as normal, then switch to video without interrupting playback. It's seamless. If you rotate your device, the video expands into full screen landscape mode. You can also download video episodes for offline viewing, just like audio. As Apple is using HLS playback, that means two practical things. First, adaptive streaming. The video quality automatically adjusts to your internet speed, so you're less likely to get buffering if your connection dips. Secondly, and more interestingly, dynamic ad insertion. That means ads aren't permanently baked into an episode. They can be swapped in based on your location and even updated over time. So someone in the UK might see different ads from someone watching from the US. And older episodes can carry current campaigns without being re-edited. It doesn't change how you press play, but it does mean Apple Podcasts now behaves much more like a modern streaming platform. And that's where the creator side comes in. Because if Apple can dynamically insert ads, it can properly monetize video podcasts inside the podcast app itself. That includes traditional video ad slots and host-read sponsorship segments. So, creators may no longer have to rely solely on YouTube or Spotify if they want video revenue. Apple is effectively saying, you can publish video here, and you can earn money here too. Early distribution partners include Acast, Art19, Omni Studio, and SiriusXM, which suggests this isn't a casual experiment. It's infrastructure being put in place. The bigger picture is this. Apple is stepping directly into a space that YouTube and Spotify very much inhabit. YouTube reportedly sees over 1 billion users watching podcast content monthly. Spotify has more than 250,000 video podcast titles and says around 170 million users engage with video podcasts. Netflix has even started licensing selected podcast content in the US. There's also a shift in behavior underneath all this. Industry reports suggest more than half of US podcast consumers now prefer watching rather than listening, particularly on platforms like YouTube. So Apple isn't inventing video podcasting, it's responding to where the market has already moved and making sure it doesn't get left behind, unlike its AI offerings. 26.4 beta is expected to receive a wider rollout to the general public within the next month or so. Amazon has started rolling out firmware version 5.19.2 across the Kindle Scribe range, along with the 11th and 12th generation Kindle devices. And it tells us quite a lot where Amazon wants the Kindle ecosystem to go next. Let's start with the practical changes. For newer Kindle Scribe models, there's now a new cloud connection setting. This allows you to control whether documents imported from Microsoft OneDrive or Google Drive sync across all your Kindle devices. Now, this might sound minor, but if you use your Scribe for PDFs, work documents, or study notes stored in the cloud, you now get more granular control over how those files move between devices. A small but meaningful tweak for some. The biggest shift, though, is Send to Alexa Plus. Amazon began enabling Scribe users to send handwritten notes or imported documents directly to Alexa Plus, Amazon's upgraded AI assistant. You write notes as usual on the Scribe, and you can send that content to Alexa Plus. The AI processes your handwriting or document text and can summarize what you wrote, extract action points, turn those into to-do lists, create calendar entries, set reminders, or even help you brainstorm next steps. So instead of your notes simply living on your device, they become structured information inside Amazon's wider ecosystem. And if you're embedded in that ecosystem, the Scribe suddenly becomes more than a notebook. Early hands-on testing suggests the AI is particularly good at turning messy notes into clear, actionable tasks. It handles summarization competently and can extract useful next steps. It's less impressive when pushed into more complex analysis, but that's fairly typical of AI tools right now. It could be argued that the Scribe originally launched as a larger e-reader with some note-taking capabilities. It felt like Amazon responding to devices such as the Remarkable and other digital paper tablets. Good hardware, solid writing feel, but not really redefining the category. In recent times, Amazon has rolled out updates that make the Scribe feel like a much better note-taking device and can on some level compete with the newer Remarkables and Books tablets of this world. With these granulated cloud integration controls and Alexa Plus connectivity, Amazon is clearly trying to reposition the Scribe as a professional productivity tool. The Scribe is no longer about just buying books, annotating and highlighting passages. It's increasingly about capturing ideas, syncing them across services, and now feeding them into AI. Amazon clearly sees AI integration as central to the future of its hardware, and with this update, the Kindle Scribe takes a definite step into that territory. The question is, how many of you are happy sharing your documents now that you know they're being swallowed and spat out by the AI machine? Alexa Plus launched first in the United States, predictable, and it's tied to compatible Echo devices and the updated Alexa app. In the US, it's included with Amazon Prime membership, while non-Prime users are expected to pay a monthly subscription. In the UK, rollout has been slower and more limited. In fact, it's still in beta mode with very few people invited to take part, and there's no indication as to when this may be rolled out more publicly. Here's something you probably didn't expect. You can play chess on a Kindle. No jailbreak, no hacking, no unofficial firmware, just using the built-in browser. Modern Kindles include a very basic web browser. It's not designed for heavy websites, it struggles with complex layouts and flashy animations, but it can handle simple web apps. And that's where this gets interesting. Chess, at its core, is just a board and a few pieces. Static, minimal, high contrast. In other words, perfectly suited to an e-ink screen. Some websites are too complex and won't render properly, but several lightweight chess web apps work surprisingly well on devices like the Paperwhite or Scribe, versions specifically designed for e-readers. Chess for Kindle turns the screen into a simple two-player board for someone sitting opposite you. E-ink chess adds offline computer opponents with selectable difficulty, and plain chess lets you jump into an online game with minimal setup. I'll put links to all of these in the description so you can try them out for yourself, because I'm not a chess player. This isn't suddenly turning my Kindle into a competitive gaming machine, but there may very well be some of you watching who really enjoy chess and enjoy that distraction-free nature of an e-ink screen. So if you do try it, let me know how you get on. Browser chess on a Kindle, not what it was designed for, but it might just scratch that gaming itch. Now finally, this story caught my eye because over on my other channel, The Spark, I recorded a video some time ago trying to make my iPad mini feel more like a Kindle. I adjusted multiple settings, I built a shortcut, I tweaked color. It was very much an experiment to see how close you could realistically get an LCD screen to something resembling e-ink. It was for a bit of fun, but very interesting and involved. But recently I came across an article suggesting you don't actually need to do any of that or go that far. According to the article, there's one simple setting buried inside accessibility that can get you surprisingly close, at least in a pinch. Now, I did use this setting in my video, but it kind of got swallowed up in all the other things I was trying to get my iPad mini to do. It's called Reduce White Point, and you'll find it under Settings, Accessibility, Display and Text, Size, and then scroll down to Reduce White Point. What this setting does is reduce the intensity of bright colors on the screen. Most people use it to dim the display further than the normal brightness slider allows, but the trick here isn't just dimming. The suggestion is to turn your brightness all the way up, yes, fully up, and then increase the white point reduction using the slider. At around 80 to 90% reduction, the display becomes less noticeably harsh while still remaining clear and readable in a bright room. The author who tested it said her daytime sweet spot was around 87% with full brightness. Now, the effect isn't magic. It doesn't suddenly turn your iPad into e-ink. There's still backlighting, there's still refresh glow, and it's still a tablet screen. But what it does do is just take the edge off brightness in a way that can feel less aggressive on the eyes, particularly for short reading sessions. And that's the key here. If you're already carrying an iPad and you just want to read a chapter in the Kindle app without packing a second device, this might just make those short bursts a little bit more comfortable. Now, this isn't a Kindle replacement, obviously. It's more of a practical workaround. And for those of you who switch between iPad and Kindle regularly, well, it's a useful little trick to know about, especially if you don't want to dive into shortcuts and advanced display tweaks. Sometimes the simpler solution is buried just 3 menus deep. Right, well, that's your lot for this week. If you've spotted any other e-ink, Kindle or iPad stories that I've missed, please do drop them in the comments or email me at markfromthespark@gmail.com. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube, the Weekly Spark is a new channel spun off from my main channel, The Spark, which I'll link in the description. If you found this video useful, a like would be lovely. Subscribing means you won't miss the next one, and tapping that hype button would be helpful. If you'd like to support me in other ways, you can buy me a digital coffee using the QR code that's been on the screen throughout this video, or use the link in the description. Thanks for watching or listening. I'm Mark from the Weekly Spark, and I'll see you in the next one.